Hey everybody, I just thought I'd give you an idea or see what you guys think. Those of you who are in astronomy and those who are not, maybe this will spark some interest. But I have a mount, it's called an Ioptron CEM70, and I have a 14-inch Cassegrain on here. It's like 50 pounds. I think Celestron says it's 40 something, but it's more like 50 pounds. And I was able to achieve pretty good guiding, about point 0.4 0.42 arc seconds. I got it down to point 0.4. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but Dylan O'Donnell, he has like an astronomy channel and he has like an EQ8R Pro mount, and it's like $8,000 mount, and he seemed pretty happy with zero point 0.3 arc seconds of guiding, and I'm achieving zero point 0.4 with a $2,300 mount. So I guess there's pros and cons to having, because the EQ8R Pro has encoders on it, and my mount does not. And when you're using guiding, there's pros and cons to both. But if you like have clouds or something at some point, then you could lose your tracking when you're using encoders. I guess you don't have to always have that perfect view of the stars to keep guiding. So I guess that's one pro or win for encoders versus guiding. But the guide scope and the camera, I think the camera was $300 and the scope was like $100. So it was only $400 more for the guide scope, and I'm achieving nearly the same accuracy as the $8,000 mount. I know maybe I'm probably forgetting a lot of things, and I'm ready for everyone's criticism, I guess, on that. But one of the few ways I kept it low was by putting my guide scope down here, and I made my own wood bracket. Like, I was looking at buying some wood brackets for some of these, and they're like $300 or $200 or something ridiculous. I know like astronomy is kind of like a niche market, so when they engineer these things, they're not being mass produced, so they kind of have to mark up the price to make up the money. But it's just not really worth it to me to spend $300. I don't really think it should be for anyone else. But anyway, I don't want to, like, I guess, hurt somebody that's designing and selling these things. But yeah, so I made this little wood bracket, screwed it on here. I had a tap and die set, so I made I only needed one screw hole because there's one here already for counterweight, and then I made this other one for more stability for the mount for my guide scope here. And I haven't had any flexure problems so far yet. And there's a lot of people who are like kind of like flexure snobs. I guess maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they think the only way you can do guidings through off-axis guiders. There's pros and cons to both. So whichever you prefer, you may achieve a little bit better with off-axis guiders, but also, there's also things that can make you achieve less accuracy with off-axis guiding if you don't know what you're doing, and same thing with doing a guide scope. So you kind of just got to know what you're doing and learn from your mistakes. And that's what I've been doing. I guess I just like to try stuff and see how it works out. But anyway, the biggest problem I've had is wind. And like I said, Dylan was achieving zero point 0.3 arc sec of accuracy while I think he was guiding with while using his encoders. I'm not sure if he was or wasn't, but he was pretty happy with 0.3, and I'm getting 0.4, and I think I can get down to 0.3 arc secs. And one guy said he got 0.3 arc sec with the CEM70. So you can get 0.4, I know, from my experience. I was going from 0.4 to about 0.8, and I think most of that was the wind. And once I put I was going to talk about a little bit more, but I have a tent or observing tent, which you can't really find much online to buy. So I had to make my own. There's one company that's making their own tent, and it's like $600, and they're all back order 2 months. So I made my own tent and cut out the wind, and once I did that, I was achieving about 0.5 to 0.4 arc seconds. And then I didn't have the tent actually around the scope. I was just using it outside the scope to block it because I knew which way the wind was coming from. But once I put it in, I was going to do some more tests to see how good my accuracy is. I want to get down to zero point 0.3 arcsec of arc seconds of accuracy to see, because that'd be kind of neat to say, well, I achieved the same thing with a $2,300 mount as you would with a $8,000 mount per se. I don't have much payload on here with my 14-inch Casagrain, but some people don't use their weight distribution wisely, and they just I guess they just want to throw stuff on and off, and I guess have to be a little more efficient with what I have. But yeah, so some people will put another dovetail plate on top here, which is really nice and everything, and that with a 14-inch scope, that's going to add like 4 or 5 pounds, and weight adds up really fast on a bigger scope. Like normally on a smaller scope, if you add a dovetail plate, you may add like a pound, but since this is a bigger scope, it's going to be longer and everything, it just adds up way faster. So yeah, I think I'm at about 60 pounds, so I'm well over 2/3 of the payload, and I'm getting 0.4 seconds of accuracy so far with guiding. And I mean, that's just after trying a few times. I mean, I'm going to fiddle with this some more and see if I can get down to 0.3. I hope I can. And then also putting my tent around the telescope will help a lot too, because every night I've gone out, wind has been my biggest enemy. I wasn't really planning on that, and surprisingly, not a lot of people seem to be talking about it that much. And I don't know, maybe everybody does it from observatories, and I feel like I'm the only guy that has to travel 3 hours somewhere for a dark site, or I guess everyone's doing it from their backyard, but I'm doing it. I live in a condo, so I can't really, I can go down to the tennis court, and there's just a lot of light pollution. I can't leave my scope there, so I may as well just drive somewhere, I guess. So that's my setup so far. And I guess I was going to show you my PhD 2 guiding graph real quick. And so yeah, you can see my guidings so far on this. Which is about 0.42 right here. You can see the accuracy, and I've gotten it down below that, but I haven't had enough time to experiment and see what I can do to improve it. Ioptron also has this PEC training, and it's periodic error correction. I think that's what it stands for, and I haven't learned how to also enable that, but your worm gear has a periodic error, and if you can train the mount to track as if those errors aren't there, and then you do auto guiding on top of that, you can achieve a little bit better accuracy. And I've been looking at cloudy nights for quite a while, and it's not as easy as it looks. I think Ioptron tries to make it really easy. I haven't found the easy way, and I haven't found out how to do the hard way. Keep doing it, keep bouncing back and forth, and just making myself more confused. But I emailed Ioptron about doing it with PEM Pro, and I guess they do like a lot of analysis on trying to get rid of your worm gear error when you're guiding, so you can achieve better accuracy and do better photos. And then, okay, so here's the tent I used. So I just ended up buying this tent, and then I cut a hole up here. And then I also made some PVC pipe around here, a big frame right here to put these posts in. And then I can make the tent a lot stabler. And then I can also move the tent whenever I need to and not have to stake it down. And the PVC pipe also adds weight to the base, so when the wind blows it around, it's a lot more sturdier because I did that. And if people were really worried about it blowing away, you could fill the PVC pipe up with sand. But there's guys out there that make these tents, and they're all PVC pipe, and it takes them like 30 minutes to break it down and put it back up, and I'm like, that's way too much work for me. And you can put this tent up within 5 minutes and put the PVC pipe up within another minute or two. It's not that hard, and so you're doing it in what, 8 minutes, and versus making your own tent. And this just goes up way faster. This tent was like $50, but the PVC pipe and everything was about another $100. So you end up spending $150 to get this tent. And then I cut a hole in that top, like I said, and then you can buy these zippers that you can stick to the roof there. And then I also bought some plastic tarps to go around because it's just a screen. It does block a lot of wind, but if you want no wind, you can put the tarps up around it. I haven't done enough research. I'm tired of looking online for a good tent for this, but it'd be better if it was just a real tent and not a screen. That way it'd block all the wind. But I mean, when I was trying to get it, I was just trying to find a tent that was on stock because everything's on back order. So yeah, that's my quick review so far of the progress I've had with this CEM70 on a 14-inch Celestron Cassegrain telescope, and I have a 60D camera. I've been taking pictures of the Orion Nebula. Sorry, I don't have any to share with you right now. I guess I want to make sure it looks really good before I just like start sharing it, and anything I put work in, I want to try and do a little bit better than just a raw photo, but I might do it some other time. But yeah, and so I don't have that much of the payload, and I guess 60 pounds, and that's a lot cheaper than buying a way expensive mount, and then I don't have to haul around a 50 pound head. And this is, I think, 35 pounds, if I remember right. And also another update, I fried my motherboard and my RA and deck boards because I accidentally plugged in the power reverse polarity, and it fried both of them. And Ioptron was really nice to me, and I told them I fried them, and they didn't make me pay for everything. Technically, they could have made me pay for everything, but they were really nice, and they covered some of the cost to replace some of the parts, not all of them, and I just tried them, and I paid for most of it, but they helped out a lot, so thank you, Ioptron. I hope this is somewhat entertaining. I know it sounds like I'm a little dry. I'll try not to be so dry, but whenever I'm not, it kind of scares people. But that's it.